Have you ever noticed that life after 80 feels quieter, but somehow heavier? It's as if the world keeps spinning, but your place in it feels different, subtly at first, then undeniably. No one really warns you about this chapter of life. The brochures talk about retirement and grandkids, maybe a few silver-haired smiles, but they rarely mention the deeper truths, the ones that show up in the quiet moments, in your thoughts, in the mirror. In today's video, we're talking about 5 unexpected and often overlooked realities that show up after 80. These aren't just about physical health or the obvious signs of aging. These are deeper shifts, how people respond to you, how time feels, how your inner world transforms in ways no one prepared you for. Stick around until the end, because while some of these truths may feel tough, acknowledging them gives you power. Power to adapt, to embrace, and to keep living with intention. Let's get started. 1. The subtle disappearance from social spaces. One of the first things you begin to notice, quietly, almost imperceptibly, is how the world starts looking past you. You walk into a room and realize people don't turn toward you as much. You speak, and someone finishes your sentence, or doesn't respond at all. You attend family gatherings and sometimes feel like a guest rather than a central figure. It's not always intentional, it's not cruel, but it's real. Society has a way of placing youth in the spotlight and gradually nudging older voices into the background. Not because we've become irrelevant, but because the world has stopped listening as closely. And that can be painful. You have decades of experience, stories rich with meaning, lessons earned through hardship and grace, yet your voice often carries less volume, not in truth, but in attention. But here's what's vital to remember. Your presence still matters. Just because the world doesn't always invite your voice doesn't mean it lacks value. Speak anyway. Tell the story. Offer the insight. Share the joke. Not everyone will hear, but the right people will. And those who truly see you will be better for it. This isn't about demanding attention. It's about choosing not to disappear quietly. 2. When familiar routines become foreign. Think back to the rhythms that once shaped your days. Your morning walk, cooking your favorite meal, running errands with ease. These routines weren't just tasks. They were the architecture of your identity. But after 80, even those simple rhythms can begin to shift. You may wake up one morning and realize your balance feels different. You might hesitate before driving somewhere you used to go every week. Even walking to the mailbox might require a bit more thought. It's not just physical. There's an emotional disorientation that comes when the familiar begins to feel foreign. And the hardest part? You remember how it used to be. You can still picture the ease, even feel it in your bones, but your body doesn't follow. So what do you do when routine becomes a challenge? You adapt. You redefine what routine means. Maybe the morning walk becomes a short stroll to the garden. Maybe cooking turns into preparing a simple meal with a friend or family member. Maybe errands become opportunities to connect. Slower, yes, but no less meaningful. The core of who you are is not lost. It's simply evolving. And there's strength in that evolution, because every adjustment you make is a quiet act of resilience. 3. The emotional weight of accumulated loss. Here's something almost no one talks about, but almost everyone feels after 80. Grief doesn't leave. It lingers. Over the decades, you've likely said goodbye to friends, siblings, perhaps even a partner. You've attended more funerals than weddings. Some losses were expected. Others blindsided you. But each one left a mark. And by the time you reach your 80s, you carry a quiet inventory of absences. You might find yourself reaching for the phone, instinctively wanting to call someone who's no longer there. Or you remember a story and realize there's no one left who lived it with you. That's not just sadness, it's soul-deep grief, and it's normal. But here's where it turns into strength. Every person you've loved and lost, that love doesn't vanish. It becomes part of you, part of how you show up for others, part of how you hold space for new connections, no matter how small. And though the world may grow quieter, your heart has more capacity than ever before. So don't rush past the grief. Don't minimize it. Let it shape you, not shatter you. Let it remind you how deeply you've lived. The mind's gentle retreat and return. Another quiet shift you may notice is in the way your mind works. Not just memory, though that's part of it, but your overall mental rhythm. Some days your thoughts feel crisp and clear. You recall names, solve a problem, share a vivid memory. Other days things feel foggier. Words escape you. You forget why you walked into a room. You may even repeat a story without realizing it. This can be frustrating, even frightening, especially if you've always taken pride in your sharpness. But here's the truth. Your brain is still working, just differently. This isn't necessarily about decline, it's about change. Your mind is now filtering, prioritizing, conserving. It's not about losing capacity, it's about focusing on what matters. Let yourself slow down. Let yourself rephrase. Laugh if you forget a word. It doesn't mean you've lost your intelligence. It means you've lived long enough for the brain to shift its pace. And when clarity returns, as it often does, you'll find the depth is still there. It always was. The surprising power of stillness. Here's one more unexpected truth few people prepare you for. Stillness isn't emptiness. It's a new kind of presence. After 80, life slows, whether you choose it or not. Days feel quieter. There's less urgency, fewer appointments, fewer demands. At first, that silence can feel uncomfortable, even lonely. But over time, you may discover something powerful hidden in the quiet, a different kind of clarity. You begin to notice the details, the warmth of sunlight on your face, the rhythm of a bird outside your window, the way memories rise when you're not distracted. Stillness becomes a teacher. It reminds you that being alive isn't about constant doing, it's about being. And being doesn't require productivity. It requires presence. In a world that moves too fast, you become a keeper of slowness, of wisdom, of reflection. That's not a weakness. That's a gift. So embrace the stillness. Fill it with your voice, your reflection, your peace. Because in this chapter, you don't need to chase meaning. You are already living it. So there you have it, 5 profound, often overlooked realities that begin to surface after 80. The subtle disappearance from social spaces when familiar routines become foreign, the emotional weight of accumulated loss, the mind's gentle retreat and return, the surprising power of stillness. None of these are easy, but each one carries with it a hidden strength, a chance to adjust, to reflect, to connect more deeply with yourself and the people who truly matter. Aging is not about fading, it's about revealing, stripping away what no longer serves, and leaning into what does. Wisdom, truth, connection, presence. You've earned every wrinkle, every lesson, every story. So tell them, live them, share them. If you've made it this far, comment "still growing" below. Let me know which of these truths resonated with you the most. I read every comment, and your words inspire this community more than you know. And if you found this video meaningful, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone else who might be walking this road. Your support helps us continue creating content that matters, for those who've lived and are still living fully. Until next time, take care of your mind, your body, and your spirit. And remember, just because the world moves faster doesn't mean you have to. You're moving at the right pace for you. Thank you for being here.